opponents are not scared of him anymore. He's lost that bully factor that he had so well.
This is Jonathan Langer of Fifth Pro Boxing Fans, joined by Barry Jones here in Poland, ahead of Usyk Dubois tomorrow night. Barry, let's just get straight into it. How does Daniel Dubois win this fight and take home those 3 belts?
That's a huge ask. Everyone knows what he has to do. He has to be aggressive, has to smother the space of Usyk, and he has to stop the movement. But how would you do it? You tend to think, right hands for the southpaw are the one, the left hooks are the shot that you should land with. Closing the gap with the jab, double jab in, and hit him on the chest to stop the movement. But these are difficult things to ask from a guy who hasn't got the fastest feet, who has a lovely jab. Daniel does a lot of the basics really well, which is what you need as a heavyweight. Straight, lovely, nice jab, straight, a strong, heavy jab, good right hand, throws the left hook nice and neat. But there's not loads of speed in that shot, and his feet are not fast, I would say that. And against someone like Usyk, who has very fast feet, that pendulum motion movement as well in front of you, so you have to try and time his movements. And he punches off your punches quite well. So when you jab, he'll be a southpaw, he'll step to his right, and he'll hit you with that left hand through the middle, and then he'll spin around the back of you. How does Daniel overcome that? I'm not quite sure. But he has to, they know they're underdogs. They know it's a no-lose scenario for them. So they just, if he fully commits himself, it might be an entertaining fight for a few rounds.
What does Don Charles bring to Daniel Dubois for this fight, and especially facing someone like Usyk? What can he bring?
A calmness, because Don is not a trainer of an ego. I don't know if I worded that correctly, but he's not a trainer with a massive ego, I don't feel. So he'll be calm in the corner. It won't be nothing remotely about him. It'll be all about his fighter. And I think it'll be that. And also I think he'll be telling Daniel to go at him. Even though, if anything, from what Derek fought, with the 2 different styles, of course, and Don's has trained many fighters who's not boxing like Derek, but he'll know that you have to be assertive on him. Don't give him space to move. And I think he'll drill in the instructions and commanding his respect. I think that's important for Don. He has to have the belief of Daniel. If Daniel believes in him, then he'll do what he's told. If it works, who knows? But you have to have that bond, that trust.
Does he at some point in this fight have to go for broke? Because everyone said after round 9 of Usyk Joshua 2 that Joshua should have jumped on him and tried to get the finish, and people say he didn't. Is that the case here? If he perhaps hurts him at any point in this fight, he has to go for it?
I think let's go for it early. Now the thing about going for it early, by the way, we all say go for it, but you walk on the punch, you see how you like it. I would say that much. It's easy to say it, but to do it's one thing. But I don't think he can try and box clever and then find out it's not working, and then after 7 rounds go for it, because he won't have the same vigour. He'll already be exhausted by that point. He'll already be being hit loads of places from angles he can't see, so he won't have it in him to do it. So what happens then? You try and go for it, but you just end up a slower boxer who's easier target to hit. So he has to go for it quick. It's making that decision. Do I go for it quick and take the risk of getting blasted out, or do I try and be clever, try and box and try and wait for the opportunity to hit him and hurt him? Whatever punch he lands with, I would throw the same punch again. That's what I would say. Single shot's not going to work. It's hard because Usyk very rarely gets hit for the same shot twice. If you hit with the right hand, double up straight away. I would say that. Hit with the left hook, double up straight away, because you've got a path to success there with the punch, and you might not get that very often with someone like Usyk. So.
And just lastly on this fight, I've seen, in both workouts they've done, Daniel Dubois has been targeting the body a lot. Is he bluffing us here, or is that the way you think he's going to approach this?
No, well, I mean, if he can get close without Usyk holding on to him, then he can work the body. But doing it from range is difficult, because if to hit with the body, you have to drop your hands at some point. Because even if you're going from your head, you've got to do the U-shaped motion. So you've got to drop your hands to hit the body shots. If you're going to drop your hands against Usyk, he's going to get in the outside and hit you with shots that you can't defend against. So if you get close, but he ties you up. So you've got to lean on him, put the weight on him without struggling, then let Usyk do all the work and pull you and push you. You lean on him, and then you take a little half a step back, and then you work the body. That creates the space. You've got to create that little bit of a vacuum. So by pushing the weight on him, he's dealing with your pressure, your weight, and then you take a step back, and there's a release there. You can step back and go bam, 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 work the body then. to slow their legs down. But I don't know. Listen, he got to hit me just as hard as many times as he possibly can. That's the basics of boxing. That's what he has to do. I just tactics are great, but if you can't physically, style sometimes don't. The tactics are great, but if stylistically it doesn't work out for you, you can have the best tactics in the world. If you can't do it, you can't do it.
Just lastly, Joshua against Deontay Wilder. Wilder's come out yesterday and said if Joshua has the mentality he's had the last few fights and it ends really early, and if he does alter that mentality, it only goes 4 rounds. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I agree. I do. I think the biggest factor for Joshua is he lost confidence in his jab, and everything comes off the jab. For him, everything came off the jab. The early Joshua, who was a bit bouncy on his feet, but he would step in with the jab, so the jab was doing the work for him to set him up to punch through the target with that long right hand. Now he doesn't do that. He's punching from too far out, and even though he's hitting the opponent, he's not punching right through them, and so the effect of his shots is not there. So he's lost his opponents are not scared of him anymore. He's lost that bully factor that he had so well. So he moves quite. He boxed his last 2 fights. He's boxed quite well. He hasn't boxed great. He's boxed quite well. But the magic that he had is lost. Can he get it back? He'll need it against Wilder. I tell you that much. Like if he's not, see, he has a chance with Wilder if he goes at Wilder, because he's a neater puncher. Punch inside his body frame does Anthony Joshua. So he'll get to you first, because even though Wilder's not this looping puncher like I used to say he is, he does lift his elbows up to throw his shots. So they do whip over the top. So you've got a chance to get him first, but you have to be confident enough to step into the shot. I don't think his confidence is there. So I think if he stays in the range he's staying at the moment, is just all the powers in the end of the punches for Wilder. And if he catches you there, anywhere actually, you're in trouble. If you try and push him back and don't commit your shots, he's also a dangerous puncher coming back. He's dangerous on the ropes because he whips his punches in. The acceleration on his shots is what gets him. So he has natural power. He doesn't load up with the shots. He whips every punch in. So if he can do that, so I think if Joshua doesn't get back to having belief in that left hand, then I do think it goes early, and I do think it's in Wilder's favour.
Few can break down a fight as good as Barry Jones. Barry, appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll speak to you after the fight tomorrow night.
Cheers, thanks for having me.